Language partners. Practice makes perfect together. Introduction. Imagine you want to speak a new language. You could buy food like people in Rome, talk with new friends in Seoul, or understand your favorite movie in another language. Learning a new language lets you see new places, get better jobs, and understand other cultures. It can also make you feel better about yourself. Many people want this. But learning a language can be hard. You might use books or apps. They help you learn words and rules. But when you try to speak, it feels different. Maybe you are scared to make mistakes. Or maybe it's hard to keep learning when you are alone. It's easy to feel stuck and wish speaking practice was easier and less scary. What if you could learn faster and have more fun by learning with someone else? This is called mutual language practice. It's a simple but strong way to learn. Think about finding someone who wants to learn your language and you want to learn their language. You can meet and help each other practice. You speak their language and they speak yours. It's like you are both a teacher and a student for each other. This makes practice real, keeps you wanting to meet because you have someone to see, and helps you learn about culture, not just words. This book, Language Partners, Practice Makes Perfect Together, will help you use this practice well. We think learning together is often the best way. But just finding a partner is not always enough. Many people find a friend to practice with, but then don't know how to make their practice time useful. Talks might go off track, or it might feel strange to correct each other. This book will show you how to avoid these problems. We will help you plan your practice times. Think of it like getting ready for a fun class where you both get to teach and learn. We will talk about how to tell each other what is good and what could be better, so you both learn and don't feel bad. It's about being nice and helpful. Always remember that the goal is for both people to learn and get better. Helping each other is the main idea. In this book, you will find easy tips on how to find the right language partner. We will give you clear steps for planning practice times that are useful and fun. You will learn how to feel more sure of yourself, stop being shy, and keep practicing well. We will even give you ideas to make learning fun and exciting. When you finish, you will not just know a new language. You will be able to use it, meet people from different places, and see learning a language as a fun trip you take with a friend. Are you ready to find out how fun and good it is to learn a language with a partner? Let's begin this great trip together. 1. Finding a language practice partner. Learning a new language can feel like climbing a big hill all by yourself. You might look at the top and wonder how you will get there. Books and apps are like good shoes and a map. But imagine having a friend with you. This friend can show you an easier way, help you when it's hard, and cheer you on when you are tired. That friend in learning a language is your practice buddy. Finding the right person to learn with makes a big difference. It's not just about talking. It's about helping each other learn languages. This means you and your buddy help each other get better at speaking and listening. You plan times to practice that work for both of you. You also give each other nice and helpful advice. This team effort is key to getting better and making that far off top feel close. So the first big step is finding that good friend. Where to find your language learning friend? So you know why you need a friend: to talk, to get advice, and to make learning more fun and helpful. Now, where do you find this person? Think of it like looking for a good path to walk on. There are many paths, some easy to find, some leading to nice views, online places, websites, and apps. The internet lets you find people from everywhere. Many apps and websites are made just to help language learners meet. These are often the easiest places to start, especially if you are new to this. Language swap apps. Apps like Tandem and HelloTalk are very popular. They work like social media, but for learning languages. You make a profile, saying the languages you speak and the languages you want to learn. The app then shows you other people who want the same thing. You can send messages, voice notes, and even video calls. Good things. You can find people from all over the world. There are millions of users, so you have many choices. Many apps have tools to help you translate when you get stuck. Not so good things. Sometimes people are not serious about practicing. They might just want to talk about other things, or they might not reply much. It can take time to find someone who really wants to practice often. Also, be careful about sharing personal details too soon. Always think about staying safe. Language learning sites with people. Websites like Italki have teachers for lessons, but they also have a free section for people to connect. Here, you can find language partners. You can post messages asking if anyone wants to practice, or you can reply to others who are looking. Good things. You can often find people who are serious about learning because they are already spending time on a language site. Italki is also known for being a safe place for learners. Not so good things. It might take a bit more work to find a partner here than on apps made just for swapping. You need to look and connect yourself. When you use these online tools, remember the goal is helping each other learn languages. Look for profiles where people clearly say they want to practice your language to help you practice theirs. This shows they understand it's a two-way street. Looking around you. Real places sometimes, the best friends are found in person. Don't forget about the world near you. Language meetups. Many towns have groups that meet often for people who want to practice languages. You can often find these groups by searching online for your town language exchange. These meetings are usually in cafes or community centers. Good things. Meeting in person can feel more real and build a stronger connection. You can often practice with many people at once, which can be fun and show you different ways of speaking. Not so good things. These groups might not be in small towns or country areas. The meeting times might not always work for you. School clubs. If you live near a school or university, see if they have language clubs or groups for students from other countries. These groups often welcome people from the community and are good places to find practice partners. Good things. Students are often very motivated learners. They might want to practice your language for their studies. Not so good things. These groups might be mostly for students, and it might be harder for others to join. Culture centers. Look for centers about the language you are learning, like a French center or a Spanish institute. They often have events, classes, and parties where you can meet people who speak the language or other learners. Good things. You will be in a place focused on the language and culture, which can be very inspiring. Not so good things. These might be less common than general language meetups. Using people you already know. Friends and workmates, you might be surprised who is already around you. Ask friends and family. Tell your friends you are learning a new language and looking for a practice partner. They might know someone. Good things. You already trust your friends, so practice sessions can feel more comfortable from the start. Not so good things. It might feel a bit strange if practice doesn't go well and you still have to see them often. Also, friends might not always give the best advice. Workmates. If you work in a place with many different kinds of people, or if your company works with other countries, you might find colleagues who speak the language you are learning or who are learning your language. Good things. You already have a work relationship, and you can practice during breaks or after work. Not so good things. Like with friends, it might be difficult if the practice relationship becomes hard. When you look, think about the main idea of helping each other learn languages. Are these people looking for a fair swap? Do they want to help you as much as you want to help them? What makes a good language buddy? Finding someone to practice with is just the first step. You want to find someone who will be a good buddy for helping each other learn languages. It's like picking someone to go on a long walk with, You want someone you can count on and who enjoys the trip as much as you do. Same goals and similar levels. It's best if you find someone who is at about the same stage in learning the language as you are. If you are just starting, practicing with another beginner can be great because you can learn and discover things together. You can help each other understand hard grammar or new words. But the most common and often best way is a swap. You find someone who is learning your main language and you are learning their main language. This way, you can spend half the time practicing your new language and the other half practicing their main language, which is your main language. This makes sure helping each other learn languages is truly fair. Why this is good? Both people have a clear reason to help each other. You can both share what you know about your main language and learn from each other's experiences as learners. What if levels are different? If one person knows much more than the other, it can still work, but you need to plan better. For example, if you are a beginner and your buddy knows a lot of the language you are learning, you might focus more on listening and simple speaking. Then, when you practice their language, they might be a beginner and you can help them with the basics. The important thing is that both people feel they are getting something good from the swap. Being committed and reliable, the friend you can count on. Imagine planning a walk and your friend doesn't show up. That's annoying, right? The same is true for language practice. You need someone who is committed. How to see if they are committed? Clear talking. Do they reply to your messages fairly quickly? Do they seem excited about practicing? Setting a time. Are they willing to set a regular time to practice? This shows they are serious about making it a habit. Doing what they say. If you agree to meet or talk at a certain time, do they show up? Why it matters. Practicing often is the most important part of helping each other learn languages. If your buddy often cancels or doesn't reply, it stops your learning and can make you feel sad. It's okay if things happen sometimes, but being there often is very important. If you find someone who is always there, you've found something very special. Getting along, walking at the same speed just like friends you go on walks with, you need to get along with your language buddy. You don't have to be best friends, but you need to be able to talk well about the language and the practice itself. How you talk to each other. Do you like to chat in a relaxed way, or do you like to have clear plans for each practice session? Try to find someone whose way of talking is like yours, or be ready to talk about it and find a middle ground. Personality. Are they patient? Do they cheer you on? Do they make you feel okay with making mistakes? These things are important because learning a language means trying and sometimes failing. A kind and patient buddy will make learning more fun and less stressful. How they give advice. How do they like to give and get advice? Do they want you to fix every mistake, or only the important ones? Talking about this early is part of good helping each other learn languages. How to see if it's a good match before you start. This is a really important question for anyone just starting. You don't want to waste time with someone who isn't a good match. Here's how you can figure it out before you start practicing regularly. 1. First, chat. Before you agree to practice every week, have a good talk. Ask them about their learning goals, why they want to learn your language, and what they hope to get from the swap. Ask them about their hobbies and interests too. Finding things you both like makes practice more fun. 2. Practice try. Suggest a short, one-time practice session. Maybe 30 minutes. During this time, try speaking your new language and their main language. See how it feels. Does talking feel easy, or is it very hard to understand each other? Are they patient when you have trouble? Do you feel okay trying to speak? Do they seem like they really want to help you? Do you feel like you are helping them too? 3. Talk about what you expect. Very important. Use this practice try as a chance to talk about how you want to practice. You can say, I find it really helpful when you fix my grammar mistakes. How do you like me to fix your mistakes? Or, maybe we could spend 15 minutes speaking my language and 15 minutes speaking yours. Talking about this is a key part of setting up successful helping each other learn languages. 4. Trust. How you feel. How do you feel after talking and practicing with them? Do you feel full of energy and ready to learn, or tired and worried? How you feel is a good sign of whether this person will be a good helper on your learning journey. If, after a first chat or a short try, it doesn't feel right, it's okay to politely say so. You can say, "It was nice talking to you. I don't think we're quite the right match for practice right now, but I wish you the best with your learning." There are many other people you could practice with. Finding the right one is worth the effort. Making the first contact, reaching out. You've looked online and in person, and you've found some people who might be good partners. Now comes the moment to act, making contact. This can feel a little scary, like sending up a light to show you're there, hoping someone sees it. But if you are clear and friendly, you can make a good first impression. Online messages. Writing your note when you find someone on an app or website, your first message is important. Keep it simple, friendly, and clear about what you want. Start with a hello. Hi their name. Or hello. Mention their profile. Show you read it. I saw on your profile that you were learning English and want to practice. That's great. Say what you want clearly. I am learning the language and would love to practice with you. Explain the swap. I can help you practice English, and you can help me practice their language. This clearly shows you want helping each other learn languages. Suggest what to do next. Instead of just saying let's practice sometime, be a bit more specific. Would you like to have a short chat sometime this week? Maybe we could practice for 15 minutes in each language? Or, are you free to exchange voice messages? Keep it short and friendly. Don't write a long story. A few sentences are enough. You can add a little about yourself, like something you both like from their profile. I also saw you like. Howdy. That's cool. Example message. Hi Maria. I saw on your profile that you were learning Spanish and want to practice. That's awesome. I am learning German and would love to find a partner to practice with. I can help you with your English if you'd like to help me with my German. Maybe we could try a short video call sometime this week, perhaps 15 minutes for each language. Let me know what you think. Best, Alex meeting in person. Add gatherings or events. If you are at a language meetup or a cultural event, it's often easier to start talking. Go to someone who looks friendly, someone who is smiling or seems open to talking. Simple start. Hi, are you here for the language exchange? Or hello, I'm new here. My name is your name. Say why you're there. I am learning their language and looking for someone to practice with. Ask them, what language are you learning? Or what languages do you speak? Suggest sharing contact info. If you have a good chat, suggest sharing phone numbers or social media details to plan practice. It was nice talking to you. Would you like to share contact info so we can maybe plan a practice session sometime? Things to remember for your first contact. Be patient. Not everyone will reply, and that's okay. Don't feel bad about it. Just look for the next potential partner. Be safe, especially online. Don't share too much personal information like your full home address or phone number right away. Stay on the app's messaging system until you feel comfortable. Be clear about swapping. Always make it clear that you are looking for a swap, helping each other learn languages. This sets clear expectations from the very beginning. Finding a language practice partner is an exciting step. It's about finding someone to share the journey with, someone who will help you climb that hill. By knowing where to look, what to look for, and how to reach out, you are setting yourself up for a successful and good language learning experience. Remember, the goal is to build a supportive team where both of you can grow. 2. Planning. Effective practice sessions learning a new language can be a big adventure. It's more fun and works better when you have a partner. We talked about finding a good partner, someone who can help you learn and you can help them. This is called mutual language practice. It's when two people learn each other's language and help each other get better. It works best when you plan your practice time together. This makes sure the time is useful for both of you. It's also about being kind and helpful when you give and get advice, so you both get better. But just having a partner is not always enough. Sometimes, when you sit down to practice, the time just goes by. You might talk about the weather, then what you ate for lunch. It's nice to talk, but does it help you learn your new language? Probably not as much as it could. This is where planning helps. Planning your practice might sound like extra work, but it's like giving your learning a big push. It's the key to making sure your time together is useful and helps both of you learn more. Why planning is important. Let's think about why a little planning makes a big difference. First, planning stops you from wasting time. Imagine going on a trip without a map. You might get lost or drive in circles. You'd waste time and gas. Language practice is similar. Without a plan, practice can just become casual talk. You might talk about things you already know how to say or get stuck because you don't have the right words. A plan gives your practice a direction. It's like a map for your language learning trip. You know where you're going and you're more likely to get there. This means every minute you spend together is more likely to be a learning minute, not just a talking minute. Second, planning makes sure both people benefit. This is a main part of mutual language practice. Remember, you are helping each other. If one person always leads the talk or always practices the same thing, it's not fair or helpful for the other person. Planning helps you make sure both of you get a chance to practice what you need to learn. Maybe you need to practice talking about the future, and your partner needs to practice listening. You can plan a short activity where you tell a story about your future plans, and your partner can ask questions to check their understanding. This way, both of you are learning and getting better. It's about making sure your partnership helps both of you gain something valuable from every practice. Third, planning sets clear goals. Even small goals can help a lot. You don't need to plan to learn a whole new grammar rule in 1 hour, but you could set a goal like, today, we will practice talking about our hobbies using the present tense, or let's learn 5 new words about food and try to use them in sentences. When you have a clear goal, you and your partner know what you are trying to do. It makes practice feel more important. You can focus your efforts on that goal. And when you reach it, even a small goal, it feels good. This feeling of success makes you want to keep going and makes the next practice session more exciting. Finally, regular, planned sessions build strength. Think about building something. If you add 1 brick today and another tomorrow and another the next day, you'll soon have a wall. But if you add a brick today and then wait a week, it's harder to start again. Practice that is regular and planned builds a rhythm. It keeps the language in your mind. Each planned session builds on the last, making your progress smoother and easier to see. This steady progress is very encouraging and helps you stay motivated on your language learning journey. What a good practice session looks like. So, what does a well-planned session actually look like? It's not about creating a difficult document. It's about a simple agreement on how you'll use your time together. The first step is deciding what to focus on. Before you meet or start talking, you and your partner should agree on what you want to work on. This could be a specific skill, like improving how you say words or practicing how to ask for directions. It could also be a topic, like talking about your favorite movies, discussing current events, or learning about different holidays. For example, my friend Maria, who was learning Spanish, and her partner, Javier, who was learning English, decided one week their focus would be on talking about their families. Maria wanted to practice describing relationships, and Javier wanted to practice asking questions about family traditions. That clear focus made their entire session more directed. Once you have a focus, you need to think about what activities to do. The activity should match your focus. If your focus is discussing hobbies, a good activity might be to each prepare a few sentences about your hobby, and then explain it to your partner, who can then ask more questions. If you want to practice the past tense, you could decide to tell a short story about something you did last weekend. Acting out a situation is another great activity. For instance, if you're learning how to order food in a restaurant, you can act out that exact situation. One of you is the customer and the other is the waiter. This makes practice fun and useful. Asking and answering questions can also be very effective. You can prepare questions for each other about the topic or grammar you are focusing on. Next, think about how much time for each part. You don't need a strict minute-by-minute plan, but a general idea of how you'll spend your time can be helpful. For a 1-hour session, you might decide to spend the first 5 minutes on a quick warm-up, maybe asking each other how your week was. Then you could spend about 30-40 minutes on your main activity or discussion. Finally, you might set aside the last 10-15 minutes for feedback and reviewing any new words or grammar. Knowing roughly how much time you have for each part helps you stay on track and ensures you don't run out of time for important things like feedback. Finally, think about preparing if needed. Sometimes, a great practice session requires a little bit of work beforehand. This doesn't mean hours of studying. It could be as simple as agreeing to look up 5 new words related to the day's topic before the session. Or perhaps one partner agrees to find a short article or video about a specific subject for you both to discuss. For example, if you plan to talk about travel, you might both agree to find 3 interesting facts about a country you'd like to visit and share them. This shared preparation makes the session richer and shows that you are both invested in making it a success. Being flexible with your plan. Now, it's important to remember that a plan is a guide, not a cage. The best practice sessions have a structure, but they also allow for being natural and spontaneous. This is where the human element comes in. Language learning is a natural process, and sometimes conversations go in unexpected directions. That's okay. You should always know that plans can and should be changed. If you've planned to discuss a specific topic, but your partner suddenly remembers a really funny experience they want to share, be open to it. You can gently guide the conversation back to your planned topic later. Or you might even find that the spontaneous conversation is a great learning opportunity itself. Perhaps your partner uses some new words or grammar that you can then discuss and learn from. The key is to be responsive to your partner's needs and the natural flow of conversation. Think of your plan like the frame of a house. The frame gives the house its shape and structure, but you can still decorate the inside, choose furniture, and make it feel like your own home. Similarly, your practice plan gives your session structure, but you and your partner bring the life and personality to it. Be willing to go with the flow sometimes. If a particular word or phrase comes up that is interesting or confusing, take a moment to explore it. That moment of curiosity can lead to some of the most valuable learning. The plan is there to help you make the most of your time, ensuring that you cover important things and that the practice is balanced. But it shouldn't stop you from having a real, human conversation. The goal is to learn, and sometimes learning happens in the most unexpected moments. So, use your plan as a helpful guide, but don't be afraid to change it slightly if the conversation leads you to something interesting and valuable for both of you. Talking before practice. One of the simplest yet most powerful ways to make your practice sessions effective is to communicate before the session even begins. This doesn't have to be a long, formal meeting. A quick message or a few minutes of chat before you start can make a big difference. It's a good idea to briefly talk about what you expect and possible topics with your partner before the session. You can do this at the end of your previous session, or perhaps through a quick text message or email, a day or two before. For example, you could say, "Hey, partner's name, for our session on Thursday, I was thinking we could focus on talking about our jobs. Does that sound good to you? Maybe you could prepare some questions about my work, and I can ask you about yours." This simple exchange lets your partner know what to expect. This kind of communication ensures that both partners are on the same page and can be ready. If your partner knows you'll be discussing jobs, they might think about words related to their job or prepare some questions they've been wanting to ask. This preparation, however small, makes the actual practice session much smoother and more productive. It shows respect for your partner's time and effort, reinforcing the idea that you are working together towards a common goal of learning. It also gives each of you a chance to suggest topics or activities that you are particularly interested in or feel you need to work on, further increasing the benefit for both of you in your mutual language practice. This talking ahead of time is a key part of successful partnerships. It helps avoid confusion and ensures that your practice time is used wisely, leading to more steady progress and a more enjoyable learning experience for everyone. My friend, Sarah, who is learning French, used to have sessions with her partner, Pierre, that were sometimes good and sometimes not. Sometimes they'd have great conversations, and other times they'd just struggle to find things to talk about. One day, Pierre suggested they spend the last 5 minutes of each session deciding on the focus for the next session. Sarah thought this was a brilliant idea, so at the end of one session, they agreed that their next meeting would be about weekend activities. Sarah spent a little time before the next session thinking about words she might need, like hiking, relaxing, and visiting family. Pierre, knowing this was the topic, prepared some questions like, "What did you do last weekend?" and "What are your plans for the upcoming weekend?" When they started their session, they dived right in. Sarah felt much more confident expressing herself, and Pierre had specific questions to ask, which helped him practice his listening and question-forming skills. That small step of communicating the plan beforehand made a huge difference. It turned a potentially awkward session into a focused, productive, and enjoyable one. Think about it. When you plan a party, you decide on the theme, the food, and who to invite. You do this so the party runs smoothly and everyone has a good time. Planning your language practice sessions is very similar. It's about setting things up for success, ensuring that you and your partner can communicate well, learn from each other, and celebrate your progress together. It's a vital part of making mutual language practice work wonders for your language learning journey. Once you've thought carefully about your practice sessions, the next important step is to actively do them, turning your plans into real learning. This leads us to the art of doing these planned sessions effectively, making sure that the preparation turns into meaningful talking and learning. 3. Mutual benefit in language learning. Learning a new language is like starting a fun trip. You meet new people, learn about different ways of life, and see more of the world. But sometimes, when you practice with someone, it feels like only one person is learning. Maybe you talk the most, or you don't think your partner is learning much. This is why helping each other is very important. It's the main idea of practicing languages together, where both people learn and get better. Think about this. You are learning Spanish, and your friend, Maria, is learning English. You meet to practice. If you only help Maria with her English, you might feel you are helping her a lot. But do you learn much Spanish besides just talking a little? Probably not as much as you could. Helping each other means Maria gets better at English, and you also get much better at Spanish when you are together. Both of you should feel like you learned something useful and made good progress when you finish practicing. It's not just one person helping the other, it's both of you helping each other grow. This idea is more than just taking turns talking. It means both people are actively learning and improving. We are talking about speaking, listening, understanding how sentences are built, grammar, learning new words, and even learning about each other's cultures. When you focus on helping each other, you are not just talking, you are creating a place where both of you try hard and get better. This makes the whole experience much better and more useful. I remember when I was practicing French with my friend Pierre. Pierre was learning English, and I really wanted to get better at French. At first, we just met and talked. I would try to speak French and he would try to speak English. But I found it hard to say what I wanted, and Pierre seemed to do most of the work, waiting for me to find words or fixing my grammar. I was practicing, but it was hard, and I wasn't sure if I was getting much better. Pierre got a lot of English practice, but sometimes it felt like he was just waiting for his turn to speak English. It was okay, but it could have been much better. One day we decided to do things differently. We planned our practice times more. We agreed that for 30 minutes, I would speak only French and he would speak only English. Then, for the next 30 minutes, we would switch. He would speak French and I would speak English. This simple change made a big difference. Suddenly, Pierre listened carefully to my French and I listened carefully to his English. We both had a clear goal: to understand the other person and to make sure they understood us. When I spoke French, Pierre started asking me more questions about my grammar and words. He didn't just fix my mistakes, he wanted to know why I said something a certain way. This made me think harder about the language. I had to explain my choices, which made me remember rules and words I had forgotten. It was like teaching, but in a natural, talking way. And when it was his turn to speak French, I made sure to ask him questions about his English. I asked him to explain words or sayings he used. This made him think carefully about his English too. This change to planned practicing languages together made our practice times very useful. I felt I was not only getting better at French, but also at explaining language rules. Pierre said he felt more sure of his English because he had to explain things to me in French, which helped him understand English ideas better. We both felt that we were working equally, and we both gained a lot. We were both learning, growing, and really helping each other. This brings us to the first important point. Helping each other is not just about taking turns talking. It means both people are learning, improving their skills, and reaching their own language goals. When you work with someone where you both truly gain, you are not just talking, you are actively growing together. For you, this might mean speaking more easily, learning more words, fixing difficult grammar, or understanding cultural differences. It's the same for your partner. They are also working on their own language goals. Think about this. You are learning German, and your partner, Kenji, is learning Japanese. If you spend your practice time explaining German verbs to Kenji, and he explains Japanese word endings to you, you both learn directly. The benefit is not just in speaking, it's in actually teaching and learning specific language parts. This is much better than just talking. You might find new ways to explain something in your own language because you have to make it simple for your partner. This process of making things simple and explaining them actually makes your own understanding stronger. It's like looking at your own language in a new way. This shows that a partnership where you help each other is a great motivation booster. When you see that your partner is really learning from you and that you are also making good progress because of their help, it makes you want to keep going. It creates a good cycle. You feel good because you are helping someone else, and you feel good because you are learning yourself. This shared progress makes both people excited and want to continue the partnership. It's much more motivating to go to a practice session when you know you will learn something new and help someone else learn. I have seen this happen many times. When someone feels like they are just doing a favor for their partner, they might start to lose interest. They might make excuses, or the talks might get shorter and happen less often. But when both partners feel they are getting something valuable, they stick with it much more. They care about each other's success, and this shared care makes them want to learn and keep practicing. It changes the partnership from something difficult to a shared adventure. This brings us to another important part: fair work and reward. Focusing on helping each other leads to sharing the work more equally. Neither person should feel like they are only giving or only taking. This fairness is key to a relationship that lasts and is useful. In a fair partnership, the work feels right for everyone. You don't feel tired because you are doing all the teaching, and your partner doesn't feel like they are just getting a free lesson. Imagine you and your partner agree to spend 30 minutes speaking your new language and 30 minutes speaking your own language. This plan naturally makes things fair. You both get special time to practice your new language, and you both get special time to help your partner. It makes sure the work is shared. If one person always talks the most or always corrects mistakes without getting similar help, it's not fair. This can cause unhappiness or a feeling of not being valued. A partnership where you truly help each other knows that both people have something to offer and something to gain. Let's think about skills for both. This is where things get really interesting. When you teach or explain something in your own language to a partner, it actually makes your own understanding of that language stronger. This creates a surprising but powerful learning chance for the person who speaks the language naturally too. When you have to explain a grammar rule, a saying, or why a word is used a certain way in your own language to someone learning it, you have to think about it in a new way. For example, if you speak English naturally and you are helping someone learn English and they ask you why we say I am going for plans in the future, you have to really think about the present continuous tense and how it's used. You might have to remember grammar names or find simple ways to explain the idea. This process of breaking down your own language for someone else actually makes you understand your own language better. You start noticing patterns and rules you never thought about before. You might even find new words or better ways to say things. It's a great way to become a better and more skilled speaker in your own language, all while helping someone else. So, what are the specific, real benefits each person can get from a partnership where you truly help each other, besides just practicing speaking? For the person learning, the benefits are clear: speaking more easily, learning more words, speaking more clearly, understanding grammar better, and feeling more confident when speaking. They hear how native speakers talk and learn about the culture. But for the partner who is the native speaker or more advanced speaker, the benefits are also big. They learn to explain difficult ideas simply, which makes their own talking skills better. They can learn to appreciate their own language more by explaining its rules and details. They often learn about their partner's culture through questions and talks. They also learn patience, understanding, and how to communicate across different cultures. Also, if the native speaker is also learning a language, the exchange gives them a planned chance to practice that language, making the partnership truly work both ways. How can a language partnership be set up or started so that both people feel they are getting the same value in making progress? The first step is talking openly. Right from the start, both people should talk about their own learning goals. What do they want to achieve? What topics do they like? What are they good at and not so good at? This talk helps set what to expect and find ways each person can help the other. A planned way of doing things can also be very useful. This might mean agreeing on how your practice times will work. For example, you could decide to spend certain amounts of time on each language. Or you might agree to focus on a certain subject or topic for each practice, preparing some words or questions beforehand. Another good idea is to include special activities. This could be acting out different situations like ordering food, asking for directions, or talking about a news story, playing language games, or working through a short piece of writing or video together and talking about it in both languages. Most importantly, both people need to be willing to give and accept feedback in a helpful way. This means not just pointing out mistakes, but explaining why it's a mistake and offering the correct way. It also means being open to getting feedback yourself without getting upset. A good idea is to ask for feedback in a specific way. Instead of just saying, "How was my French?" you could ask, "Did I use the right past tense there? Or was it easy to understand how I said that word?" This specific feedback is much more helpful. Remember my story with Pierre? The simple agreement to switch languages halfway through our practice times was a change in how we did things that immediately made us feel like we were getting equal value. We both knew we would have our own time to practice our new language, and we both knew we would have the chance to help and be helped. This clear plan removed any doubt about who was giving more or getting less. In the end, understanding and actively working towards helping each other changes a language exchange from just talking into an active learning system. It's about knowing that both people in the partnership have valuable skills and knowledge to share, and that by working together, they can achieve more than they could alone. This shared care for each other's progress is the foundation for good partnerships, leading to more planned and effective practice times in the future. It's this commitment to growing together that makes practicing languages together such a powerful tool for everyone learning a language. 4. Giving and receiving feedback. Learning a new language is like building something. You need the right tools and you need to know how to use them. In our language talks, the most important tools are our words and how we use them to help each other. One of the best ways we help each other is by telling each other what we think. Think about it. If you are building a wall and a brick is a little bit wrong, you want someone to gently push it back into place, right? You don't want the whole wall to fall down later because that one brick was not fixed. Telling each other what needs fixing in language learning is just like that. It is about helping each other put those language bricks in the right place so the whole way we talk becomes strong and good. Why telling each other what needs fixing is important for growing together. Telling each other what needs fixing is not about saying you were wrong or making someone feel bad. It is about learning together, faster and better. When we talk with a partner, we are both teachers and students at the same time. This is the main idea of talking together to learn. You are helping your partner learn your language, and they are helping you learn theirs. This sharing works best when we can point out things that might be a little wrong, so we can fix them. Imagine you are telling a story in your new language. You might use a word that sounds right to you, but it does not really mean what you think it means. Your partner, who knows that language better, can gently tell you the right way. This small fix helps you learn the right word, and it helps your partner practice explaining things. So you both get better. Without telling each other what needs fixing, we can keep making the same mistakes without even knowing it. These mistakes can become habits, and habits are hard to change. If you always say "I go yesterday" instead of "I went yesterday," people might still understand you, but it will always sound a little strange to someone who speaks the language well. Telling each other what needs fixing helps us avoid building those habits. It shows us the small things that can make our talking clearer, more natural, and easier for others to understand. It is like cleaning a diamond. It makes the natural beauty of your language skills shine. This makes our talking together to learn much better, because we are not just talking, we are actively getting better together. The skill of telling each other what needs fixing in a good way. Telling each other what needs fixing can feel a little hard at first. You do not want to hurt your partner's feelings or make them feel shy. But there is a way to do it that helps everyone learn and feel good. This is the skill of being helpful. First, be clear about what is wrong. It is not very helpful to just say, "That word was wrong." Which word? Why was it wrong? Instead, try to be like a detective who finds the exact clue. For example, if your partner says, "I have seen the movie yesterday," you can say, "That is a great sentence." You use the present perfect tense really well. For things that happened at a set time in the past, like yesterday, we usually use the simple past tense. So you could say, "I saw the movie yesterday." Does that make sense? You first said something nice, then you explained exactly what was different and why, and then you asked if they understood. This is much clearer and more helpful than just saying wrong. Second, be kind and give support. Always start with something good. What did your partner do well? Maybe their talking sounded very clear, or they used a new word correctly. Start with that. "That was a really interesting story. I understood everything you said." Then you can offer your suggestion. Use kind phrases like, "Maybe you could try," or another way to say that is or I think maybe one. Small word you could add here is this makes your partner feel safe and willing to listen. They know you are on their side, helping them, not judging them. Third, focus on talking clearly. When you are practicing, the main goal is to understand each other. So, focus your suggestions on things that make talking easier. If your partner says a word slightly wrong, but you understand them perfectly, maybe that is not the most important thing to fix right away. But if they use the wrong word or make a grammar mistake that makes the meaning unclear, that is very important to point out. For instance, in English, saying "I am agree" instead of "I agree" does not stop talking, but it sounds a bit strange. However, saying "I no go yesterday" instead of "I did not go yesterday" might be a bit confusing. Fix the things that help your partner be understood more clearly first. Finally, ask if it is okay. Sometimes, it is good to just have a conversation that flows. Other times, you might want to focus on getting better. You can ask your partner, "Would you like me to point out any mistakes as we talk, or would you prefer I write them down and we look at them later? Or is there anything specific you would like me to listen for today?" This makes sure you are both thinking the same thing and are okay with the way you are helping each other. It respects your partner's way of learning and what they like. The skill of receiving help gracefully, just as important as telling each other what needs fixing, is knowing how to receive it. This can be even harder sometimes. Our minds can sometimes feel like they want to protect themselves when they hear a correction. But remember, your partner is doing this to help you. First, listen carefully. When your partner offers a correction, try to really hear what they are saying. Do not interrupt them to explain why you said it that way. Just listen. Nod your head to show you were paying attention. Try to understand their point of view. Sometimes, just hearing the corrected way is enough. Second, ask for more information. If you do not understand why something was a mistake, it is perfectly okay to ask. This is a great chance for even deeper learning. You can say, "Could you give me another example of when to use that tense?" Or, "I am not sure I understand why that word is not correct here. Can you explain it in a different way?" Asking questions shows you are interested and want to learn. It is not a sign of being weak. It is a sign of a strong learner. Third, say thank you. Always thank your partner for their help. A simple thank you for telling me that, or I appreciate you helping me with that, means a lot. It shows you value their effort and that you see the help as a gift. This makes your partner feel good about helping you and more likely to offer help again. It makes your talking together to learn feel more positive. Fourth, do not think it is about you. This is a very important one. The correction is about the language, the words, the grammar. It is not about you as a person. Your partner is not saying you are a bad person because you made a mistake. They are helping you learn the rules of the language. Try to see the mistake as a sign on the road to speaking well, not as a personal failure. Everyone learning a language makes mistakes. It is a natural and needed part of the journey. Setting rules for helping each other together before you even start telling each other what needs fixing a lot. It is a really good idea to talk about it with your partner. Think of it as setting the rules of the game for your talking together to learn. You can sit down together at the start of a talk or at the end of one and discuss. How often do you want me to correct you? Are there certain types of mistakes you want me to focus on more than others? Like grammar, words, talking sounds. Do you prefer corrections right when I hear them, or should I wait until the end of our conversation? How can we make sure we both feel okay with the help we are giving and receiving? For example, maybe you prefer immediate corrections because you learn best that way, but your partner might feel embarrassed and stop talking if they are corrected too often. So you could agree that you will correct them only for big mistakes during the conversation and save smaller things or talking sounds for a quick chat at the end. Or maybe one partner wants help on every single small mistake, while the other only wants help on things that really change the meaning. Agreeing on these things before you start is super important. It stops confusion and hurt feelings. It makes sure that both of you feel respected and supported. This makes your partnership stronger and your learning better. It is about building trust. When you trust your partner, you feel safe to make mistakes, and that is when real learning happens. What can go wrong if you do not tell each other what needs fixing in a language partnership, and how can you avoid this? If you do not tell each other what needs fixing, your language learning will likely be much slower. One big problem is that mistakes can become habits that never go away. Imagine practicing a sport and never being told if your way of doing it is wrong. You might get good at doing it the wrong way, but you will never be as good as you could be because that bad habit is holding you back. The same happens with language. If you keep using the wrong verb tense or the wrong word, and no one corrects you, that wrong way of using it can become very hard to change. Later, it will be much harder to unlearn it and use the correct way. This can lead to your talking always sounding a bit strange, even if people understand you. Another bad thing that can happen is not getting better. Without telling each other what needs fixing, you might feel like you are not moving forward. You might keep having the same talks, using the same words and making the same grammar mistakes week after week. This can be very sad and lead to losing the desire to learn. Your partner might also feel the same way. If neither of you is pushing the other to try new things or fix errors, the practice talks can become boring and not helpful. This is the opposite of talking together to learn, which should be about actively getting better. Also, not giving feedback can lead to not understanding each other. If your partner does not tell you when you have said something that they do not understand, you might think you are talking perfectly, when in reality you are not. This can lead to frustration for both of you. You might wonder why people react strangely to what you say, and they might be confused about what you mean. Talking clearly is the goal, and telling each other what needs fixing is essential for reaching it. To avoid these problems, the answer is simple. Make telling each other what needs fixing a regular thing. Make it part of your practice. Start small. If immediate correction feels too much, agree to write notes and talk about them at the end. Or focus on just one or two types of mistakes each talk. The key is to make telling each other what needs fixing a constant and expected part of your partnership. It is about creating a safe space where mistakes are seen as chances to learn, not as failures. By actively looking for and offering help, you make sure that your talking together to learn is always moving forward. Helping both partners get better quickly and avoid making bad habits. How can a language learner know the difference between necessary corrections that help communication and small style choices that might slow down a conversation? This is a really important skill to learn, and it takes some practice. The best way to think about it is to ask, does this mistake or difference make it hard for my partner to understand me, or does it just make me sound a little awkward? Necessary corrections are those that directly affect understanding. These are usually mistakes in basic grammar, words, or sentence structure that change what your sentence means or make it confusing. For example, using the wrong tense, I eat breakfast yesterday confusing, should be ate using the wrong word. I am very exciting about the trip sounds strange, should be excited. Missing an important word. He is taller me missing then, making the comparison unclear wrong subject-verb agreement. She like ice cream sounds wrong, should be likes. These are the kinds of things that usually need to be corrected because they are basic to making clear sentences. Small style choices, on the other hand, are often about sounding more natural or using more advanced language, but that main meaning is still clear. These might include slightly unusual word order. Yesterday, I went to the store versus I went to the store yesterday. Both are perfectly understandable. Using a simpler word when a more complex one could be used. He is very good at sports versus he is very talented at sports. Small pronunciation differences that do not stop understanding. The way someone says the tea in water might be slightly different, but if you can still understand the word, it is usually not a critical correction for a beginner. Choosing a slightly less common phrase when a more common one would work just as well. When you are giving help, try to focus on the necessary corrections first. Ask yourself, if my partner said this, would I understand them easily? If the answer is no, then it is a good candidate for help. If the answer is yes, then you might think about if correcting it would interrupt the flow of conversation too much. As a learner receiving help, you can also start to see this difference. When your partner corrects you, think about whether the correction helped you understand something important about how to be understood. If they are offering many suggestions about slightly different ways to say things, you can ask them, is this change really important for understanding? Or is it just a way to sound more like a native speaker? It is also helpful to talk about this with your partner. You can decide together which level of correction you are aiming for. For beginners, focusing on clear talking necessary corrections is usually the most important thing. As you both get better, you might decide to focus more on small style differences. The goal of talking together to learn is to help each other talk clearly and with confidence. By focusing help on what truly matters for understanding, you can make your practice talks very productive without constantly interrupting the natural flow of conversation. By learning the careful balance of giving and receiving help, language partners can change their talks from simple conversations into powerful ways for both people to improve their language skills. It is about building a way to understand each other, not just between two languages, but between two people who want to help each other learn. This thoughtful sharing builds a stronger base for speaking well and creates a more supportive, encouraging learning place for everyone. This leads us to think about how to plan our practice talks to make the most of this cycle of help, making sure every conversation is a step forward. Conclusion: you have finished our book. Maybe you feel excited, but also wonder, what next? Learning a new language can feel hard, like studying alone with many rules and words. We saw that learning by yourself can be slow and make you feel stuck. But we found a better way, a way that is more active, works better, and is more fun. The main idea we talked about is learning together. What does learning together really mean? It's not just talking with someone. It's when two people decide to help each other get better. They use what they are good at to help the other person and help with what is hard. When you learn together this way, you are not just a student. You are also a teacher, someone who cheers the other on, and a friend. This helps both of you learn. You help your friend by speaking their language, and they help you by speaking yours. This means you both get to practice speaking and listening a lot. This is very important for learning. Remember how we talked about making a plan? A plan is like a map for your learning journey together. It makes sure you both work towards your goals. Giving and taking good advice is what makes you improve. It's like a gentle push, a helpful fix, or a kind word that makes good practice turn into great learning. This way is not just about memorizing or talking sometimes. It's about learning actively, where you both promise to do your best and have a common goal. It also feels good. You worry less, feel more motivated, and enjoy reaching goals together. You have learned the ideas. You know how and why learning together works well. Now it's time to do it. Think about how much more confident you will be, how much better you will speak, and the friends you will make when you practice together a lot. This is not just about reaching one goal. It's about loving languages and connecting with people for your whole life. Of course, there will be hard times. But remember the ways we talked about: talking to each other, being flexible, and both wanting to help each other will get you through. Your language partner is more than someone to study with. They can show you a new world and help you understand different cultures. So, why wait? Start now. Take the first step. Find someone to learn with, plan your first session, or look at the tools we shared. Use the power of learning together. Be patient, keep trying, and most of all, be a good partner. We hope your language learning is full of smiles, new things you discover, and the great feeling of growing together. Have fun learning.